Hi, welcome back. Okay, we're talking about reconstituting medications, and this is where you have to add some type of diluent to a powdered form of the medication. And what it will do is give you a different volume of what you are going to give. And it makes you mix powdered meds like this because sometimes they're not stable for a long period of time, like some medications are. So the top part of this study guide I'm going to let you read on your own, but I thought I would go over the practice problems with you. So if you get your papers out and go down to the study guide and go to practice problems, we'll go over these. So number one, the physician has ordered cefazolin 0.25 grams IM every 8 hours. The pharmacy sends a 1 gram vial of sterile cefazolin powder with the following mixing instructions. For IM use, add 2.5 mL of sterile water for injection and shake. This provides you a volume of 3 milliliters that equals 330 milligrams per ml. So, how much diluent will be added to the cefazolin powder? Well, it says right here it's 2.5 milliliters. And what type? We're going to put sterile water. My writing isn't that great. And so what's the dosage strength of this mixed medication? It's 330 milligrams per ml. Okay? Okay, so now let's find out how many milliliters of medication will the nurse give to the patient. So we're looking for milliliters, and we are looking for 0.25 grams. So remembering back to your system conversions, we would have to multiply this by 1,000 to end up with how many milligrams. And we can add that into our conversions here. So we have 0.25 grams. And what is our solution? We don't need to add in this 3 mLs or the 2.5. All we're looking for is this, 330 milligrams. Oops. We need to have our milliliters on the top. Okay. 1 ml is 330 milligrams. So now we need to add our conversion factor in here. 1,000 milligrams is 1 gram, right? So we can get rid of our grams, get rid of our milligrams, and that ends up being our milliliters is the only thing that is left. So can we reduce anything down here? Well, yeah, we can get rid of this 1 0 here in the 330. So we end up with 0.25 times 100 is 25, and we're going to divide that by 33, which equals 0.7575 and on out. So we end up with 0.76. Now, we haven't done syringes yet, but I do know that you would be able to draw this up into a tuberculin syringe because it's measured off into hundreds. However, if it wasn't then we would round that to 0.8 milliliters. Okay, so let's go to number 2. The order is for Procaine Pen G 300,000 units, IM BID. A gram of Procaine penicillin G powder is in the medication drawer. The medication has the following mixing instructions. Dissolve 4.6 milliliters of bacteriostatic water for injection to make 200,000 units per ml. So how much diluent are we going to add? 4.6 mLs. What type of diluent? There. We're going to add bacteriostatic water. And there is a difference between bacteriostatic water and sterile water for injection. There's also, you can mix it with normal saline. However, you use whatever diluent it says on the label. So what's the dosage of the mixed strength? It's 200,000 units per ml. And I have to write out units because that's another one of the JCO do not use abbreviations is the U. So how many milliliters are we going to inject or give to this patient? So we're looking for milliliters, and we want 300,000 units, and we end up with 1 ml is 200,000 units. Okay, that's all we need. That's all the information. Don't make it harder and try to add in this 4.6 milliliters because we don't need it. I can get rid of my units. I can get rid of these 5 zeros, ending up with 3 divided by 2, which equals 1.5. Okay, see, just make sure that you aren't adding in that. So I know I'm going to have some left over, so what data should be entered on the vial after reconstituting it if I can use it again? First of all, I need the date, time, my initials. If it's for IM or IV use, and what else? When it will expire. Some are good for 24 hours, some are good for 48 hours. So, okay. Let's go down to number 5. We're going to need to give prostaflin 500 milligrams IM Q6 hours. The label reads prostaflin oxacillin sodium for injection for IM use at 11.5 mLs of sterile water for injection. Each 1.5 ml contains 250 milligrams. And this is our label right here. So we are going to look for milliliters, and we want 500 milligrams, right? And our yield is 1.5 milliliters is 250 milligrams. Now, can I 250? Will 250 go into 500? Yes, it'll go 1 and 2. So 2 times 1.5 is 3 mLs. That's what we're looking for. We're only going to give 3 mLs. Okay, this one's a little more difficult. We want to give ANSEF 225 milligrams IM. Stock. This is what's there are 3 vials of powder on our shelf, 250, 500, and 1 gram. Using the following label, what are we going to use? Okay, I would not use the 1 gram because that's a lot and you're kind of wasting a lot of it. I would use the 250. And I'm going to add 2 milliliters. And I need to figure out how much I would give in that 2 milliliters. So our order is for 225 milligrams. So I'm looking for milliliters. Times it's 125 per milliliter if I use the 250. So 1 ml is 125 milligrams. So can I reduce this down any farther? Yes, 25 will go into this. How many times? 5. And we'll go into 225. Whoops, I'm trying to use my calculator here. Nope, it won't go evenly. So we end up with 225 divided by 125 equals 125. It ends up to be 1.8 milliliters. Okay, so we're going to give 1.8 milliliters. Okay, we can also use the 500. And we're going to add 2.0 milliliters. And all I'm going to do is this. Okay. So we have 225 milligrams and 1 ml equals 225 milligrams. So we can narrow that down to 1 and 1, so we end up giving 1 ml. Make sense? All right. Well, this is the end of this study guide. I'll be sending out some more for next week. And for those of you who are a Star Wars geek, today is National Star Wars Day. So may the 4th be with you.